Oh, hi, Kate. So good to see you.
So for those on Facebook, we are coming to you from Zoom. For those in Zoom, this will be streamed on Facebook.
And we're streaming into the ADHD village.
Hello, villagers.
And villagers, if you're watching this later on the replay, just let us know and type in #replay. We have got a fabulous hour in store for you. We are so excited to share with you. Hello, hello. Maybe just drop a little in the comments. Let us know where in the world you're coming from. It's always so cool to see where everybody lives. Welcome, everyone. DJ from Canada. Yay.
Warrior Mama. Welcome, DJ.
Oh, Diane, the Warrior Mama. Yay. Hi, Diane. California,
Atlanta,
Seattle.
Wow, amazing. Burlington. Yeah, I love seeing this. San Jose. Lots of Californians. Is that how you say it? Welcome. Waterdown representing California. New York. Woo. That's fun.
So we wanted to tell you something right off at the very beginning. Oh, I've got to disable that waiting room. We wanted to share with you something at the very beginning. We do have some prizes to give out. So Christy Lynn, who's a member of the ADHD village. Hang on, I can't talk and do the waiting room at the same time. Sorry. I'm looking how to turn off. Maybe Sarah, can you explain about the prize from Christy that we're going to be paying forward?
Sure. So Christy won the prize, and she realized that she already had it. And so she has very generously and kindly offered to pay it forward. So she has offered up her prize so that someone else can win it, which is so great. Thank you, Christy. So in order to have a chance, oh, there she is. Hi. In order to be entered into this redraw for this prize, we would like to, in Christy's spirit of paying it forward, have, in order to be entered, have you pay it forward. So something from today that, because we have so much great stuff that we know has helped so many people. We hear it back all the time. So if there's something that resonates with you and you think, oh my goodness, so-and-so would really benefit from this, or, you know, I have 4 friends who I know would love this, share what you get from today, what you receive, what resonates with you with someone, and let us know that you shared, and we will enter your name into the Pay It Forward heart-led draw. Yeah. Do you want to tell them what the prize is, Laura?
Okay. So what Christy won was the VIP all access pass to, I believe it was Calming the ADHD Family. And then, so she had purchased it and then she won it. So we're going to be regifting that prize. And also, in the spirit of gifting, Sarah and I have also decided we're going to be giving a VIP luxury experience for putting Mama first.
Yes. So what you broke up when you were explaining the first part of it?
Sorry, Christy's prize that she won was the Calming the ADHD Family VIP all access pass.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be regifting that.
So okay.
So yeah, and if you're sharing on social, you can always tag us in your share, Sarah Nicorek and Laura Dawn, or you can tag the ADHD Village.
Then we'll know that you shared so we can enter your name.
Yay. So we've got 2 prizes and we'll do the draw for that in a few days.
Woo-hoo.
So let's begin. How is everybody feeling today? So often when somebody asks you how you're feeling, we often just respond with good, fine, thanks. How are you? But we want to know how you're really feeling. And we want you to come up with a word that's beyond happy, sad, angry.
Good.
So we've got a
Fine.
feeling wheel. Yeah. So if you could type in the comments, let us know, how are you really feeling? And we've got a little bit of a color code here. So the green words are generally pleasant feelings, and the blue and the red are unpleasant feelings. The red are high energy, unpleasant feelings, and the blue is low energy, unpleasant feelings.
So Jennifer shared aggravated.
Mm.
Good word. Overwhelmed. Frustrated. Oh, goodness. Tired.
So, so funny that while we're doing this, I just got a text. I guess I had sent a message to one of my friends, how are you doing? And the response was, I'm fine.
That's funny. Confident and fatigued, anxious, worried. Wow, there's a lot of things going on. Mellow,
Okay, so now
unmotivated, anxious.
On a scale of 1 to 10, let us know what your stress level is. So at 10 is like you're being chased by a tiger level of stress. And 1 is like you're cool as a cucumber, relaxing on the beach kind of thing. So let us know from 1 to 10 where your stress level is.
Plus 7, 9, 8, 6.
So 1, 3. Everything else looks like 5 and higher.
Pretty high.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not uncommon for this time of year, right? Has anybody seen the movie Bad Moms Christmas? So I watched that movie last night, and at the very beginning of the movie, the main character, one of the main characters, Amy, says, "So this year I ruined Christmas." And that got my attention right away because I have said those words before. And then so when she said that, I leaned in and was really listening. And she went on to say, Christmas by far is the most stressful time of year for moms. There are a million things to do, and you have to do them all perfectly, or else you will never forgive yourself. And more importantly, more importantly, neither will your kids. I literally feel like the worst mom in the world right now. So I'd love to know in the comments, does this resonate with you? We seem to put like so much pressure on ourselves, especially at this time of year, to do all the things and to be perfect and do all the things perfectly. And then when the things don't work out the way we're hoping them to work out, then we feel guilty.
And blame ourselves.
Like Amy did. And she said she's the worst mom in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to share a little story, something that happened today. I was on my computer and a memory popped up, and it was from my son's kindergarten Christmas concert 10 years ago. And the picture that popped up, he had the most gorgeous smile on his face, like $1 million smile. His eyes were sparkling. He had a fresh haircut. He was wearing the cutest little dress shirt and a Christmas vest and a bow tie, and he looked so adorable. And beside that picture, there was a video clip, a 1-minute video clip. So I was so excited and anticipating like watching this video clip with like, I just thought my heart's going to explode with joy watching this video. So I pressed play and I watched his cute little smile. And then the kids started to sing Jingle Bells. And my son wasn't singing. He was still smiling and looking around at his friends. And I thought he looked so cute. And they all had these little hats that they had made. So a couple seconds in, he takes off his hat and starts spinning it around. And I still thought he looked so cute. And then he turned around and had his back to the audience. And I'm still thinking he's so cute. And he started poking a little friend. And as he's poking the little friend, I'm starting to get worried as I'm watching this, thinking, oh no, like I hope that poke doesn't get too hard, or I hope the poke doesn't knock the friend off the bench. And then he stopped poking the friend and I felt a little relief. Well, then he turned to the next friend and started poking that friend. And then he took off, he had a fidget necklace. He took that off and started swinging it around. And as that was happening, I started feeling anxious, thinking, what if you whack somebody in the face with that necklace and somebody gets hurt and there's a big scene and we are in a gymnasium full of parents and teachers, like, please don't let there be a scene. Please, please, please. Luckily, he didn't hit anyone with that necklace, but then he went on to see if he could shove the whole necklace into his eyeball. So in this 1-minute video clip, which I was anticipating to feel like love and joy and be totally filled, I experienced like so many feelings on that feeling wheel: anxiety, worry, sadness, and like hurt, because I remembered how challenging it was for my son with ADHD when he was young. It was so challenging. And when I felt that hurt and that sadness, my logical brain said, what are you feeling sad about this for? This was 10 years ago. He's come such a long way. And really, why are you sad that he wasn't standing there doing the thing that all the other kids were trained to do? He was social, he was having fun, he was exploring all the things he was playing with. We want our kids to be out of the box thinkers. We want them to be creative and take risks and not just follow the rules, right? Because if you're just following the rules, how does change ever happen? How do things get invented and created, and how do new businesses start without people who are willing to take risks and follow the rules? So that's what my logical brain was telling me, but my limbic system and my emotions were feeling sad. So normally I would have told myself, don't feel sad. That's silly to feel sad. This is a happy time of year. It's Christmas time. And I would have shoved those feelings down and then felt guilty that I even had those feelings. But instead, I recognized I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling hurt for my child for what he went through. And I'm also feeling that hurt for myself, because as he was going through those challenges, I know back then that younger version of myself was worried that I wasn't doing enough to support him and make things easier for him. So I let myself have a good cry. I let myself feel my feelings. Like I felt my feelings, I cried, and then I was able to move on and continue with my day. So that's something that we'll be talking about in this workshop today, is the importance of allowing your feelings, because we often feel that there's feelings that are acceptable to have and feelings that are unacceptable. So we think that the goal is to always feel happy and joy and comfort and peaceful and calm. I should share my screen again, like all those green words. And that when we start to feel the blue and the red feelings, those are bad. We don't want to feel those. I'm just going to share my screen.
Which is why we like to use the terms pleasant and unpleasant versus positive and negative, because positive and negative has more of a judgment than pleasant and unpleasant. And really, like what Laura was describing, if you're feeling sad, what's wrong with that? Like, where did that story that it's wrong to feel sad come from? And in fact, when you feel your feelings, and like you said, you cried and the energy was released. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that is biologically, but you are able to release that emotion rather than shove it down and have it collect other like emotions and then compound it with shame and guilt and judgment for even feeling that in the first place. So there are feelings that we tend to enjoy, which we have titled pleasant, and there are feelings that we tend to not enjoy so much, and those are kind of the unpleasant ones. But what is the difference? Because the energy in your moving in your body is similar from anxiety to excitement, but what makes anxiety versus excitement is just our thoughts. And so anyway, we won't get too much into it now, we don't have time, but just we want to kind of remove that label of positive feelings and negative feelings. Because when we think of some feelings as negative ourselves and judge ourselves for having them, and our kids do that too. And we're always trying to escape the red or blue ones, the ones that we think are unpleasant. We think they're bad, then we're trying to escape them. We don't want to feel them. And then we think something's wrong with us because we feel them. Like, what's wrong with me? I shouldn't be sad about this. So many other people out there are like, we know, we all do it. So yeah.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments too, if you could, if that story resonated with you, if you've ever been in a situation where your child is behaving in a certain way and you're worried about what the outcome might be or what other people might think. Like, we
And
often
it
worry.
doesn't, sometimes it's not even like, oh, my kid was turning around, swinging things and taking his hat off and stuff. It's just like, my kid isn't singing and all the other kids are singing. My kid isn't doing X and everybody else is doing X. My kid's shy. And like, it's not, that child is not doing something, therefore it results in a feeling inside you, which is interesting.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Sandy said yes at all the family events. And that's why I'm bringing that up, because there's lots of family events. There's lots of holiday parties, the school concerts and stuff. So there's lots of opportunities for these types of feelings to come up.
Mhm.
And I think, Sarah, this is the perfect time to bring down some of our.
Yes. So we want to get in it. So the thing, there's no bad or good. There's no positive or negative. There's some feelings that people mentioned before: frustration, overwhelm, stress, unmotivation, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with having those feelings. When we're in a stress state, our brain cannot learn. Those avenues are closed because we are in survival. We're in fight or flight. And so we want to kind of regulate our nervous system right now so that we can kind of take in what we have to share tonight, because it's going to be so valuable and it'll be so much easier to receive when you're calm and relaxed and centered. So let's take a couple of minutes to, like, literally just 2 minutes. We're going to do some heart coherence. When your heart and brain are in coherence, your health, it benefits your health. Your brain fires off a whole bunch of great neurochemicals and hormones, and it regulates your nervous system. And we can get into learning brain. So you can close your eyes or not, whatever you choose, and just breathe out first. And then just breathe normally and see if you can get yourself 10% more comfortable than you are now. What can you do to get yourself 10% more comfortable than you are right now? Maybe wiggle around, find a spot that's 10% more comfortable, or 20 or 30 if you know how to get there, but just don't put pressure on yourself. Notice your breathing. And then on your next in-breath, prolong it to 6 seconds in. And exhale 6 seconds out. 6 seconds in. 6 seconds out. Continue breathing with 6 seconds in and out 6 seconds. Drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth if it's there. Out 6 seconds. Keep breathing in 6 seconds. And out 6 seconds. Through your nose, preferably. Drop your tongue. Drop your shoulders. Notice how much space there is in your hands and feet. And bring your awareness to the space between your eyes. And as you breathe 6 seconds in and 6 seconds out, imagine your breath coming in and out through your heart. Keep your tongue dropped from the roof of your mouth. Breathing in 6 seconds, out 6 seconds through your heart. And imagine a light coming down from above, in through your head, down through your body, and down and out through your feet. And it's going through and lighting up all of your energy centers in your body. And imagine especially it's lighting up your heart center, your heart chakra. You can put your hands there if you want to, or just leave them on your lap relaxed. Breathing 6 seconds in and out through your heart with your heart chakra lit up. And now think of someone you love or a place that you love, a place or a person that makes you super happy. And imagine a beam of light coming from, picture the color of it, coming from your heart chakra and going to that person or place and kind of enveloping them in that light, whatever color it might be. There's a beam connecting from your heart to that person or place and enveloping them. And then extend that beam of light to touch every atom in the universe. And sometimes I like to imagine that the earth or the universe, the earth and the universe, is like really small. So I can picture myself, I can picture that light, like maybe it's inside your heart and you're wrapping it up and it's touching every atom with that light that's coming from your heart beam. Every atom in the whole. Sometimes I like to imagine it wrapping around the earth and then like radiating out through the whole universe and touching every atom. And then bring, as you breathe in 6 seconds and out 6 seconds, bring that light beam back to that person or place that brings you joy. And then keep that person or place wrapped in that heart energy and pull that beam back into you. And it's coming back to your heart chakra and filling you up. And you can repeat after me out loud or in your mind as you breathe in and out. I resonate with the vibration of all the compassion in the entire universe. I resonate with the vibration of all the love in the entire universe. I resonate with the vibration of all the joy in the entire universe. And I resonate with the vibration of all the love in the entire universe. I resonate with the vibration of all the gratitude in the entire universe. Check your tongue if it's down off the roof of your mouth. In 6 seconds, out 6 seconds. And as and notice the smallest pink object that's around you. Notice the largest square object that's around you. Give yourself a little hug.
Thank you, Sarah. That felt so good. And we'd like to check in with all of you. And if you could give us a number from 1 to 10, after just taking a few minutes to do that beautiful breath work and that visualization, we're curious to see if the stress level has come down. So if in the comments, you can give us a number from 1 to 10 and also a feeling word. Let us know how you're feeling. Sandy said, yes, she's now a 4. So the first time we did this, I think there was only one person below a 5, and I see 2 4s. Anna asked, what's the significance of your tongue? So when your tongue is at the roof of your mouth, it gives the signal to your gut that you are in fight, flight, or freeze mode. But when you drop your tongue, it gives the signal to your gut that you can rest and digest. And when your gut gets that message, then it sends a message to your brain, everything's okay, it's safe, I'm allowed to relax. So pretty cool science and just moving your tongue. So you always want to drop your tongue. And I tell myself often to drop my whole jaw.
That's the other part of it, is it loosens your jaw so you're not clenched, because that sends the message that there's something stressful happening. So you can check yourself throughout the day. I always kind of pause and think, where's my tongue right now, and just drop it.
Interesting how often you'll notice your tongue is up at the roof.
Yeah, big time.
So DJ said 7 to 2. Jean said 8 to 5. Laura, 9 to 5. Wow. And that was just a few short minutes. Sarah, thank you. That was a gift.
You're very welcome.
And so we wanted to do that at the beginning too, because this is something that you can do for you. So the workshop's called Love You Parenting, and Love You is an acronym. And even though you is at the end, we put it at the beginning because taking care of you needs to come first.
And even like, it seems like self-care, self-love is like, no, I don't have time for that. It's an extra often. It really is the epicenter of everything. And so we hope that we can help you appreciate that as we go through tonight.
And just out of curiosity, where do you put yourself on your list of priorities, especially at this time of year? Because there's the baking and the shopping and the wrapping and the decorating and the concerts and the parties and the school things and the list and the kids and everybody. So where are you on your list?
Are you on it?
Well, Laura's on her list. She's last.
She's last. Okay. Last.
Andy last. Yep.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And that's so
always
typical,
last.
right?
And it's kind of drilled into us, to be honest, right?
It totally is. And that reminds me of another quote from that movie, Bad Moms. The grandmother says to her daughter, who's Amy in the story, the mother in the story, she said, no, you're not supposed to enjoy. You're supposed to give joy. The mother doesn't enjoy. The mother gives the joy.
Yeah. We have all kinds of stories about how it's selfish to do anything for yourself, and you should always be thinking of other people, and da 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 da. Last.
And so often when we think about self-care, we might think it's like going to the spa or having a girls' night out. But self-care can really be, well, actually, maybe we should ask you, what does self-care mean to you? You don't mind putting that in the comments.
What constitutes self-care in your
Mhm.
mind? And how do you feel about it? Like,
Mm.
what is it in your mind? And when we say self-care, what comes to mind, and what what it what about it? Time alone to do something I enjoy without interruptions, laughing with my best friend, meditation, paying attention to health, home, and finances, doing anything, as I'm just looking at Facebook too, doing anything that brings me calm and joy. So we know that we put a lot of people put ourselves last, and these even laughing with your best friend. Like, how often do you intentionally set that up for yourself? Doing something specific. Symbol. If you get hangry, if you ever like you lose your patience when you're hungry or tired or both, like anyone experience hanger, like put a yes emoji or something. Yeah, right, the red face. Yeah, so you know this, right? When you're hangry, what is your tolerance level? What is your compassion, patience, and understanding level at, compared to when you've had a good night's sleep and you've had something to eat? And Laura has a quote that she loves. I
Oh,
love it
yeah.
too,
This is
but
one
I'll
of
let
my
you say it 'cause
favorites.
it's one of your
Okay.
favorites.
So, your worst parenting on your best day is better than your best parenting on your worst day. So, when you're having a good day, when you're taking care of yourself, when you're finding moments of joy and pleasure, and you're well fed and hydrated and rested, on those days, even when you're doing your worst parenting and, not doing the best with implementing all the strategies, that's still way better than when you're tired and cranky. And what are some of the words we had? Overwhelmed, anxious, frustrated.
Frustrated.
When you're feeling all those things, and then you're trying to access your tools and your strategies, and you're doing your best to do your very best parenting, that's still not as good as your worst parenting on your best day. So really and truly taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's vital.
Yeah, it's definitely not selfish, because when you think about what happens on a day when you're just ugh, and what energy you're sending out, and what kinds of things you do, and how snappy you can be, and then other people have to they tiptoe around you. They have to, like, oh my gosh, don't talk to mom today, don't ask for this today, don't do this, like, oh, let's not invite her right now, let's wait until they have to adjust their lives and their energy to accommodate yours. So it really is not selfish. And this is why we are doing this, and why we start with you, because we have stories that it's selfish, which is bad, if we take care of ourselves without realizing how vital it is for that to happen, so that everything else, so that the strategies fall into place, and we're modeling, and and there's science behind this. It's not just like us saying, like, take care of yourself so you can be happy for your family. It's like there is like energetic transfer of energy that they can now scientifically detect, and like mirror neurons and all these things, and people line up and resonance and all that kind of stuff that we can now measure scientifically with around this stuff. So that's why we start with you at the center.
So I wanted to share a story, and I'm going to try to keep it really short because I am trying to be mindful of the time. So an example of when we're not taking care of ourselves. I remember one Christmas day, I had anticipated the perfect Christmas morning. You know, we would come down in our pajamas. We'd have maybe a little something to eat before we get into ripping everything open. We would take turns and really enjoy the moments. And I remember one year, my husband and I were up late finishing up the details. The kids woke up at 4 a.m. and we do let them open their stockings first. Santa leaves their stockings in their bedrooms. So they are allowed to open that. But I heard them get up at 4 and they were opening the stockings. I really wanted to see it, but whatever, I let it go. And then when we all sat down in front of the tree, they started ripping into the presents so quickly. And there was like no enjoyment. I kept asking them to slow down and take turns, and they weren't listening. And then the final thing that happened was there was a look of disappointment when one of them opened a present that they weren't happy with. And I lost it. So while all of this was happening, I kept thinking, like, they're ruining Christmas. Like, I work so hard to make it so magical. I do all the things. My husband doesn't even know what all the things are wrapped up in the beautiful bows, but I do. And I hadn't even opened one present. Nobody had even thought to pass me a present to open. And that final thing was just a look of disappointment on a child's face. And I lost it. And I said, "You're ruining Christmas." Ah. And then this is why I resonated with that quote from Bad Moms, because a mother yelling at her kids on Christmas morning, "You're ruining Christmas." Well, like, that kind of is the definition of ruining Christmas. It was me ruining it. And really, what were the kids doing? They were having fun, being excited, opening their presents. But I had pushed myself so much that year, and I was so busy, and going into Christmas morning burnt out. Rather than taking the time to enjoy the season, I was just go, 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 go. So imagine what your Christmas morning or your holiday, whatever it is that you celebrate, maybe it's your Hanukkah morning, or how your envision is. And if it doesn't line up with the reality, what would your thoughts be if everything fell apart and suddenly your holiday is a disaster in your mind? And would you give yourself a pause and give yourself some compassion? And that's what we're hoping this Love You will motivate you to do, to give yourself some compassion, remind you to take a pause.
Yeah. And that's what everything that Laura and I have learned, practiced, experimented with, studied, is that it gives you that gift of space between what happens and your response rather than reaction. When you're yelling, "You ruined Christmas," now Laura has that space where, her nervous system is regulated. She can take that pause and respond in a more compassionate, open way, by practicing this Love You acronym. So Laura, do you want to jump into the
L? Yes.
The L.
Okay. So in our Love You intensive in January, we'll give you a whole lot more on the U, more tips and strategies for that. But L stands for listen. Listen to your own body the way I did today. When I felt like I needed to cry, rather than shoving it down, I let that happen. Listen to your own intuition. And in your relationships with your partner, your coworkers, your friends, your children, listen deeply. So when you're listening deeply, let's say your child is telling you a story about their video game. If you stop what you're doing, if you put your phone down, you give them eye contact and you listen deeply. So if they're telling you something that's exciting and you let your face match that excitement, or if they're telling you something disappointing that happened in their video game and you just let your face and your body language mirror their face and their body language, what happens is there's a release of oxytocin because they are feeling like they're valued, like they're seen, they're heard. Sarah, I saw you just go like this.
Connection. I was going to say they
Like the
feel
connection.
connected. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And connection, like that's the number one thing that a child needs. A child needs to feel connected with one loving adult in their life.
Mhm.
And I'm watching the time. We have so much to share for Elle, for listen. But we're going to save that for our Love You Intensive in January.
Mhm. Yeah. And we'll give you a whole bunch of tips and stuff too. But one you can take with you right now is, I would add, look, like we know this, like we know this in our
Mhm.
rational mind, we should, but we forget and we think it doesn't matter sometimes. But like doing this, like, yeah, honey, tell me about it. Oh, really? Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. Sometimes we don't even realize we're not looking at the person. So if you can decide in advance, plan in advance, this is one of the great tools that we use in our coaching. It's like, what do you want? How do you want it to go? What do you want the feeling to be, the energy to be? So I went through this in a situation with my daughter, and I decided, like, I was getting the sense that she thought she was an annoyance and an inconvenience because she would come to the door and I'd be like, yes, what do you need? And I wouldn't even look up. And I thought, I never want, and then she started coming really, like, I noticed she would be anxious. She'd be like, I'm so sorry to be annoying, mommy. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't want her to feel that. So I planned in advance. So what I planned was, imagine L stands for look and listen. So I planned in advance. This is how it's like a if-when statement or a when-then statement. When she comes to the door and calls my name, then I will put down, like I planned through every step, put down the phone and turn toward her, look her in the eye, smile, and say, yes, my sweet love, what would you like? So keep coming back because they're craving that connection. So if you can actually put this down, turn, like, even like plan what you're going to do with your hands, plan what's going to be on your face, plan where you're going to look in advance, and then practice it. And that will make a huge, like, just do this for a few days even and notice what happens. So the L really is, and again, the acronym is love you, because all of these things will contribute to love and connection. And the L, if you can think of it as listen, look and listen.
And so when you're looking and listening deeply to your child, what will happen is there's going to be this beautiful release of oxytocin into their bloodstream. So this is like the love chemical. This will help them to feel safe and connected. This will help to calm their nervous system, and it actually blocks cortisol, the stress chemical. It helps your child to feel loved and safe. So if you can, like Sarah said, for the next few days, practice that looking and listening and watch the impact. Another way that you can connect with your child to help with that oxytocin is physical touch. So just, touching their arm, giving them a hug, eye contact, any kind of like snuggling, high fives, any kind of physical connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah, and we'll go into like the deep, fascinating science of oxytocin and other things in the intensive. And but yes, like Laura said, oxytocin is deemed the love drug, the oh, oh gosh, what's it
Cuddle.
called?
Is it the
The cuddle
cuddle?
hormone, the love drug. And yes, it chemically connects you with other people, other humans. And so it's really important in building that connection.
Just as you're talking, I remember my mom would pick up my kids from school, and in the wintertime when their feet might be cold or wet, I remember coming home from work to seeing my kids sitting on the couch with my mother, like massaging their feet, or she'd have the hair dryer out. She'd be rubbing their feet and warming their toes up, or she'd put a magic bag on always warming up their feet. But that grandmother's hand on the foot, like what a nice connection.
Magic.
Speaking of
Yeah.
grandmothers, so you want to fill your kids up with this love and connection at this time of year, especially leading up to events like going to relatives' houses, going to holiday parties, doing all the things that are kind of out of the regular routine. And even if they're fun and exciting, that still throws off their nervous system. So if your child is feeling really loved and safe and connected, they are less likely to be acting out to get your attention. So let's say, you're going to grandma's house or you're going to an aunt's house, and on your way out the door or while you're in the car, you might list off like the behaviors, like at dinner time, like your expectations. At dinner time, I expect you to stay seated at the table. I expect you not to talk back. I expect like all the things, right? So you have this list of expectations that you're kind of telling your kids how they need to behave at the family function. But if you're filling them with so much love and connection ahead of time, there's less of a need for that list of expectations.
So if along with, at least, if not instead, you can take that moment in the car or before you even get to that point to build a connection, then the list of expectations happens less and less because they're connected. They feel like they're on your team. They feel like a valued member of the family, and they don't, like Laura said, they don't need to act out in order to get that attention because they feel filled up already.
And I wanted to throw in another tip in there, especially if your child has ADHD. Often those types of behaviors, like what I was explaining with my son, where he was poking all the friends, their brains are seeking dopamine and adrenaline. They're seeking some kind of reaction. They're not doing this consciously. It's happening subconsciously because their brains, the prefrontal cortex, where all the higher executive functioning skills happen, needs adrenaline and dopamine, and ADHD brains are imbalanced there. So if you can fill your child up with that adrenaline before going to a family function, that's going to give them the neurotransmitters that they need. So adrenaline could be like playing tag, the floor is lava, freeze dance, any of those kinds of things where there's some excitement, some sort of chasing. That's going to give them, it's like a natural medicine.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, I just want to throw this in there. Never take them to a party hungry. I always feed my kids dinner before we go out for dinner. And by dinner, I mean like protein. I make sure that they get the protein in them before we go out for dinner. And my son's 14 and we still do this. He went to a football party at his coach's house and he said, "Why are you feeding me dinner? We're going to have pizza there." I do not send my kids anywhere hungry. You want to balance that blood sugar level.
It's a good rule for us too. Like, don't go to a party hungry. Especially with, the food that's out this time of year. Oh my goodness. Because that's
Yeah,
what we
right.
gravitate to.
Right. And then when you're hungry and you fill up on the sugars, and
Yeah.
that's a whole nother
Then you
workshop.
wonder why you're tired and you crash and you're irritable. Yeah. So L, just to review, L is look, listen deeply. O is oxytocin. V, Laura, go ahead.
So V is feeling valued and validated. So when when we're talking about the L, when you're doing that deep listening, you're you're helping the person to feel like they are valued, and you can validate what they're saying. So imagine the story I told about Christmas morning where I was getting so frustrated. And imagine if my husband said to me, like, "I don't understand why you're getting so upset. Like, it's not a big deal. It's not worth getting upset over." If he had that kind of attitude and those kind of words towards me, how do you think it's going to make me feel? Like even more frustrated, more upset, more aggravated. Probably like I'd be furious with him because he just doesn't get me, right? Whereas if he had just said to me, "Oh, I'm sorry, this isn't the way you imagined Christmas morning to be. I'm sorry this isn't going the way you wanted it to go." Or even just like an empathetic look or a squeeze on my leg or a hug, like something that validates that what I'm saying and feeling has been, that it, you don't have to
Heard.
agree with it. Yeah, that it's been heard, that it's, you're not trying to jump in and fix things right away or critique me for having a feeling. It's been heard. And once you feel like you've been heard, right? Then you can move on to whatever needs to happen next.
Which is funny because it can seem to us counterintuitive. So if we think, if we your kid's upset and you say, "Oh, you're upset," they're just going to spiral into more upset. But what honestly most of the time really happens is, yeah, and then they move on. Most of the time, once you do this, like it's so interesting. We feel like if we jump on the wagon with them, it's going to get out of control and take off down the tracks. But it really just, like, because they feel heard and connected with, they don't need to keep going with it.
And if
And they
you
might
think,
say a couple more things, but it's not a runaway train.
yeah, and if you think about it, a lot of our kids are communicating that they're upset, frustrated, angry with behaviors, unwanted behaviors, right? Aggravating their siblings, poking, shoving, like breaking toys, throwing things, like yelling, like whatever it is, the unwanted behaviors. And we want to get in there and tell them, like, stop what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. But if we take a minute, like while they're running around, like, just, yeah, I get you're really angry right now. They don't need to keep communicating that they're angry with their behavior because, ah, mom just
Mm-hmm.
heard me. She understands I'm angry. I can stop doing all the angry behaviors because she gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Another example we wanted to give to you to kind of think about is, when your child opens a present and it's not what they expected, and they might be disappointed. Maybe they think the present is too babyish, or maybe they already have the same one, or it's something they're totally not interested in and they don't know what they're going to do with it and they feel disappointed. So, I mean, it's one thing if that happens in your own house with your immediate family, but if they're opening the present in front of relatives, there's that extra layer of pressure on you as the parent, right? Because how your kid reacts, it's like, how is that going to reflect like what they think about me and my parenting and all like the judgments, and this might be happening subconsciously, but it's like that extra layer. Something that we typically might do is if they, I don't like this, or I don't want this, or, oh, what am I going to do with this? If that's kind of their reaction, or even just like a kind of like a look or something, what we generally would do is kind of shame them for their reaction. Like, oh, that's not very nice to respond that way. Grandma took a lot of care to give you that present and you're being so rude. Could you say thank you? Like, right? That's kind of like a natural kind of instinct to respond that way. So, or let me just take that toy away and give it to a kid who doesn't have any toys, somebody who's going to appreciate it, right? That kind of thing. So we want to plan for this in advance before going to a holiday party where there's going to be presents. You can have this conversation in a calm, quiet time and say, hey, what would happen if you open a present and you got whatever and you weren't expecting it or you didn't like it? What could you say? What could you do? And kind of practice it so they have that idea ahead of time. So in that moment, if they're opening the present, they've already got a kind of plan, and maybe you have a signal or a look that can remind them, I'm just supposed to say thank you. And if they don't in that moment, then you can role model for them and just say thank you for the gift, and that's it. And you guys can have the conversation later.
Mm-hmm. And you just reminded me, Laura, like when you're talking about how kids continue the behavior to show that they're angry until we get the message, we do that too. Like how many times do you do the silent treatment or grumble around the house until someone pays attention and validates the way you're feeling? And they're like, when our kids do it. So when we stop and kind of pay attention, and again, we start with you, when we start to notice our own, then it allows us to have more compassion, and we can make connections to like, aha, like this might be contributing, or, at least I can, and then the thing is, when you, again, why we start with you is because when you're able to notice and manage, for lack of a better word, your stuff, that just in that modeling, the ripple effect of that alone has massive, massive shifts and benefits. Okay, so we've done LOV. E is kind of brings us back to where we started.
Frozen.
Emotion. The energy is meant to be in motion. And so when we stop and try to suppress and don't feel that way, I shouldn't be mad right now, it's not worth getting upset over, all of those things, then we shove it down. And I kind of liken it to a beach ball. When you try to hold a beach ball underwater, the more you try to hold it under, the more pressure it pushes back, and then suddenly, and it usually comes out like that. So we talk about emotion, the stuff that we didn't learn in school. We learned that we think there are positive and negative emotions because that's what we learned. If you're angry, go to your room. Like, don't cry. There's nothing to cry about. Or like, you shouldn't feel bad about that. Like, oh, I shouldn't. Oh, okay. Well, what's wrong with me? Because I do. Like, don't be embarrassed. Oh, but I am embarrassed. And like, so we're relearning. And we're actually, again, there's science behind this now and studies about the actual importance of emotions in academic performance, in mental wellness, in all kinds, satisfaction of life. Like, we have kind of historically swept them aside as being kind of a nuisance thing or an uncontrollable thing, or like they just get in the way, or they're fluffy, or whatever the story is. And now we're seeing actually they're a vital part of our human being. And so E is for emotions. Could you put the keywords for the acronym LOVE you in the chat? Sure, we can, for sure. So everything that we do in life, in our being, is to feel a more pleasant emotion and or avoid a less pleasant emotion. If you think about this, it makes sense. If you think about something you would like to have, why do you want it? I would like to go on a trip because I feel so relaxed. I'm so happy when I have this. I want a piece of chocolate cake because I just feel grumpy, and it will make me feel better. Everything we do, want, strive for is for a better feeling, and or to avoid a less pleasant feeling, emotion. So this is why our feelings or emotions are so important. And when we kind of get more adept at our emotional intelligence, but not in the sense that it's used freely these days. It's not about managing or, again, shifting out of certain emotions to chase other emotions. It's about understanding, having compassion for, and feeling our feelings no matter what they are, and understanding where they come from and not judging them. And that it really allows you to feel better, for lack of a better word, more confident, more capable, more centered for good. So you know that even if you're feeling disappointment, which is a feeling that we try to avoid at all costs, it's going to be okay. And you can sit in that disappointment and you will come out the other side. So we talk about in the intensive, we teach you lots of really cool strategies. And also we explore a lot of where our feelings come from and what led up to now, and how actually they are vital to our being a human.
So I'd like you right now to check in with yourself, because it is so important to recognize how you're feeling without judgment, and have a look at the feeling wheel and type in the comments, how are you feeling right now? And it's okay, no matter what the feeling is, it's okay.
Optimistic.
Calm. Present. Encouraged, present.
Now I almost negated everything I said earlier by saying, isn't that better than aggravated, overwhelmed, frustrated? But just notice the shift. And if you're feeling more pleasant now than you were before. So again, I mean, it's such a habit to judge our feelings, but without judgment, just notice, isn't that interesting that now I'm feeling optimistic, relieved, present, encouraged, and seen, where before I was feeling frustrated, aggravated, fatigued, overwhelmed, stressed, even in just this short time, just with a little bit of awareness and a small dose of love you. And so just from the things that we've shared tonight, you will, if you implement like that, look and listen, the oxytocin, like the things that we shared tonight, just from that, you will notice a shift. We've heard and seen it over and over and over again, every time we do things like this. And if you choose to join us for the intensive, massive shifts happen in a very short time. We're really excited about that.
And actually, I'm sure that there's some shifts that have already taken just from this 1 hour. So I'd like to give everyone just a short little amount of time to kind of reflect. And what is something that you learned from today that you're going to try out, or something that really resonated with you, or something that you are planning to share with others. So something you learned today that you think that's a great idea. I wish more people would know this. And maybe you're going to do a post on Facebook that says, try this out, or whatever it is. Just take a moment to reflect and let us know what shift you've already experienced, what your takeaway is, what message you received. And putting it in writing is actually really good, because it shares with others, it inspires others, it takes it out of your subconscious and puts it into your consciousness. And if you're choosing a strategy that you'd like to try to do, you're 42% more likely to actually do the strategy if you write it down.
People
are writing. Oh, what did Sandy say?
Look and listen deeply. Definitely going to put this into practice starting today. Mirroring others' energy. Yes. Yes. And the good thing is, like, when you do look, like the looking really is like, it's this much of effort, although it seems sometimes bigger, it makes this much difference. They
Mhm.
actually feel seen and heard, which we all want. And what was I gonna say about that? Oh, when you show them, like by mirroring, by looking, by listening deeply, by reflecting, when you show them that over the little things, then they come to you with the bigger stuff because they know you're going to listen, which is what you want.
And think about it for you too. If you're telling a story and somebody says, I'm still listening, and they walk out of the room,
Yeah.
keep talking, I'm still listening, you kind of don't feel like telling the story anymore.
You're like, BS, you're not listening. Yeah.
Pe-
Um,
Peter and Cindy validate child's feelings for them to be heard. Yeah.
yeah. And they stop and watch the bad behavior, communicative behavior. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows what we would like to believe, what we would like to receive back as well. Exactly. If you constantly do this every time your kid talks to you, when they grow up and they have one of these, they're gonna be like, yeah, mom, yeah, whatever. Uh-huh, uh-huh. And you're gonna be like, look at me when I'm talking to you, right? How often do we say that and don't do it? So yeah, I had started to stop and listen to my kids more, and I can't tell them to hold on 1 sec. Yeah, if I can't, I tell them to hold on 1 second. Yes, I'll be with you in 1 second. Just the communication instead of like, yes, what? Like just that, like I'll be with you and then follow through. Huge difference for sure. Yes, so nice.
So I'd like to circle back to the beginning when we were talking about prizes, because prizes are always
Mm,
fun. So at the end of the week this week, we will be doing a draw. We'll share via email, but also we'll do it in the ADHD Village, a draw for 2 prizes. So one is for Christie's Calming the ADHD Family Summit, which she already owned, and she's asked us to pay it forward.
thank you,
And the
Christy.
second one, yes, thank you. The second one is the VIP luxury experience for putting mama first, which is 32 heart-centered humans came together to put together like really loving self-care, self-compassion, self-love sessions for you that you get to experience. So that's a beautiful package. So we'll do
That is amazing, because also sometimes we're like, yeah, I want to do self-care, but like I have, like Laura said at the beginning, we have these images of like a spa day or a weekend away, and we're like, I don't know what to do. I just want to do something right now. There are 32 great things and more that you can do in 5 minutes or less to show yourself some care. And they're incredible humans.
and they're different activities too, things that you might not have even thought to
Yes.
try. It gives you an opportunity to try. So that's pretty cool. So the
Mhm.
way that you will be entered in the draw is by sharing and letting us know that you shared. You can tag us in your
Okay.
post, and we'll put your name in the draw.
Mhm.
Also, we want to encourage people who are action takers because, you know, coming to a session like this is fantastic. And we're glad that you're here. And this is like you taking action. This is a very busy time of year. So we're recognizing that you are putting value in Love You. You're putting value in your parenting. You're putting value in your self-care. Am I frozen? Am I frozen?
Yeah, you're gonna have to say that again.
I wanted to say it's a very busy time of year. And we want to thank you for coming to this workshop. It shows, that you value the Love You parenting, you value your parenting, your family time, you value self-care. This is important to you. So we want to thank you for being here, and for looking for ways to make this the most wonderful time of year for your family and to lighten the stress, and looking for ways to make it more comfortable and joyful for you and for your whole family. So we also want to recognize and reward people who are real action takers and who are really want to make a difference and really see those great shifts. So we are offering the Love You Intensive. It will begin in January. Sarah, is it January the 10th?
Yep,
January
first
the
day is
10th is
January the 10th.
And it's an intensive 6 modules. So 6 modules that will happen within about a 2-week period. So that's coming in January. The price for that program is $444. But if you register, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you, Leah. If you register in the next 48 hours, we will be giving you a link. So reach out to myself or to Sarah and say, yes, I want to do the Love You Intensive. We'll send you a special link to give it to you for half price. So it's our Love You workshop sale. Our thank you for being here and making this commitment. And thank you for being an action taker and wanting to continue with this commitment in the new year. So we'll be giving it to you for half price, $222. And Sarah, I think we should throw in another bonus.
Of course.
Okay. So if you register within the next 48 hours, we're also going to give you the Love You, not the Love You, the Putting Mama First VIP luxury experience, which is valued at $222.
That's big time. So essentially you get that or this for free, one of the two. So you're getting a 2-for-1 deal. So that'll be until December 14th at midnight, right, Laura? 11:59 p.m.
Yes. Okay. Let's do that.
48 hours from
December
now.
14th. So if you want that link, just send us a message and we'll give you a special link so that you can have that discount. And we'll also give you the bonus of the Putting Mama First luxury experience. And then after that, it will go back to regular price.
Mm-hmm. You can still get SP $444 and it won't have the Putting Mama First with it.
Yes. And that alone is a great thing. And so sometimes at this time of year, people are asking, like, what do you want for Christmas? This is a great idea. Maybe this is a gift that you give yourself for Christmas, or maybe it's something that you, yeah. 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 So something to think about. Am I frozen?
Everything is impacted. And the first thing that was mentioned to me by my husband or my partner, the people around me, was like, you just seem more like calm, like you just have a calm, like you seem more calm and kind of I use the word centered. It's not the word they used. I think they just used like patient and calm. So that was the first thing, only not luxury experience as well. Oh, technology.
Sorry about that technology.
I'm going to check if there are any questions in Facebook. Yep. Awesome. So we want to thank you very, very much for joining us today. Like Laura said, we know it's a busy time of year. It's always busy, but this seems to be a more busier time of year. There are so many things going on. We are so honored and grateful that you chose to spend this time with us. And you're very welcome, Kent. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Sending you lots of love and wishing you the most wonderful time of year that's full of love and joy. And we're looking forward to hearing from you soon, and stay closely connected in the ADHD village.
Thank you.